Hello and welcome back to the Knitting Page channel. If you're new here, my name's Paige and I am the face behind the Knitting Page. So today I am tuning in from not my regular location. I am staying at a lovely Airbnb in Prince Edward County with my parents for the long weekend before I have my graduation this upcoming Wednesday. So I am loving this space. It is nice and bright. It's a lot brighter than my basement where I currently do most of my filming. And I just want to take the opportunity over this long weekend where I'm taking a little bit of a break from the work that I have to do. I will be doing some marking and getting prepped for the next week and weeks that I have ahead. But for today, I am taking the day nice and easy, which means I have time to talk to you. So today I am not going to be doing a podcast. Today I'm going to be doing my November 3, 2, 1, where I talk about 3 patterns, 2 designers, and 1 yarn that I'm loving this month. So I'm going to get straight to it. Actually, I lied. Before I get straight to it, I will tell you what I'm wearing because I always forget to tell you what I'm wearing in episodes that aren't podcasts or videos that aren't podcasts. So today I'm wearing my structure loop sweater. It is by Other Loops. I knit it in Universal Yarns 100% worsted weight yarn, or 100% worsted, something on those lines. I knit it in, again, I don't know the colors, it was a while ago, and I think these color names don't necessarily have actual names, I think they are numbers, but I knit it in like a nice slatey kind of gray blue color, and then I held it with white. I really love this sweater. It has started to pill. I didn't hold it with mohair. The pattern does call for a mohair strand to be held with it, but for budget reasons and for utility purposes, I decided to forego holding it with mohair and have it be more of like a nice transition sweater. It's definitely a lot less warm. It's obviously still warm because it's 100% wool, but it's less warm than if I were to hold it with mohair, so I find it a really great transition sweater. I really love wearing this. It's kind of like my sweatshirt sweater. I don't wear a lot of like hoodies and sweatshirts, but this is one that I put on and it's just so comfortable. I can wear it with only undergarments on underneath, and I find that I don't get irritated by the 100% wool, and it is a sweater that I would love to knit again in potentially like a solid color and just have the purl and knit textures really be that statement piece rather than the color. So that's what I'm wearing, the structure loop sweater, one of my favorite sweaters. But let's get started on 3, 2, 1. So over here, if you see me looking to my right, I have my computer, and so that's where my notes are. But I'm trying to, for these 3, 2, 1 videos, get a variety of patterns. Get a variety of patterns. I'm not trying to do only garments, I'm not trying to do only accessories. I'm trying to get a little mix of both each month, and I'm trying to include at least 1 free pattern. And so today I actually have 2 free patterns, and I would love to knit them both. But I will start with, sorry if you heard that. There's a dog who just walked by. Luna! So, the first pattern I'm going to be talking to you about is the Tromsø Hoodie, and this is this adorable balaclava. I have been really craving a balaclava. I don't know, I think they look really cute when you have like little tufts of hair sticking out the hood, and like some hair sticking out underneath. I don't know, I'm curious to know if I can rock a balaclava, and so I wanted to find a pattern that was a balaclava. And I also was super happy to find out that this pattern is free. This is by the designer Sisu knitwear, and Sisu is a Finnish word for like meaning like tough and gritty and like doing things that other people don't want to do. And it's a word that reminds me of athletics. It reminds me of my time in Thunder Bay where I was a varsity athlete. And Thunder Bay is the largest Finnish population outside of Finland. We have a lot of Finns that live in Thunder Bay, and the culture, at least in Thunder Bay and in a lot of Finland, is doing Nordic skiing. And so Sisu is kind of that word for, you're getting out, you're doing something hard in the winter, you're out in the cold, pushing your body to do these amazing feats of skiing on little tiny, essentially planks, really fast. It's total body workout. Anyways, Sisu Knitwear is the designer. The Tromsø Hoodie is this super cute basic balaclava. It has a ribbed like rim collar. I don't really know how to describe what the neck part is of the balaclava, but you'll know what I'm talking about. The neck part is nice and ribbed, and then it just has a stockinette hood. And I like the ease of this hoodie, if I can use ease. It's not like, there's somewhere it's like so tight, and I just feel like it kind of makes you like it's not the look I'm going for. Like I kind of want to be relaxed. I want to be able to have, so I can have my hair pulled out, but I don't want it to like suck my face in, you know? And so this is one that I thought was adorable. It came out in November 2020 and it was free. So I downloaded the pattern and I would love to knit it. I also have some of the yarn in stash, I believe. So the initial yarn that it calls for is Alpaca by Roma, or Rauma. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but it's using Alpaca by Rauma, and the alternative is using Drops Air. And so I have a whole bunch of Drops Air in this light gray color. I'm actually currently knitting on a project right now using it. I'm currently knitting the Lonely Leftovers vest by Wool & Beyond, but I have a whole bunch of this Drops Air just like in my stash. And so it uses 150 grams of Drops Air. You hold it double to get a really nice, thick, warm yarn. It's knit on 6mm needles, and I think that it would just be a really nice addition for the winter. I'm curious to know how it'll affect my hair. If you have curly hair, you probably get this too, but if I wear a hat, looks like I'm wearing the hat for the rest of the day. So if I'm wearing a hat and I take it off, my head looks like my hair flattens where the hat was on, and then it's poofy for the rest of it. And it's not a look I particularly love. I try to like flip my hair back and forth and like fluff it up to get some volume back on the crown. Doesn't usually work. And so I usually, when I wear a hat, I commit to wearing it all day, and I really, really do love toques and beanies. But at the school where I work at, it is quite a professional attire school, and so I feel like wearing a beanie all day is something that wouldn't be like it's not something I wouldn't feel comfortable doing. We can't wear hats in the dining hall. So I know I would for sure not be able to wear my beanie in the dining hall. I'm curious to know how a balaclava would impact my hair, because there's less pressure on your crown, especially with this style. It's, you know, it's a hood, so it's all over, and there's opportunities to like tuck your hair in or like have it be tucked out, and it doesn't look too tight or restricting. So I feel like I could potentially wear it and have it not like look like I still had a balaclava on my head, because there's a bit more ease to it. Because pretty sure it's also designed so you can take it on and off your head, and as well as providing that neck warmth. So I'm really curious to know how this balaclava will work with my hair. I definitely plan on knitting it. I don't know if I will cast it on this month, but it will definitely be cast on soon once I start clearing some more things off my needles. And I think it'll use up almost all of my Drops Air in this pearl gray color between this balaclava and my vest that I'm knitting. So that's really exciting to get some stash yarn out. It's knit at a bulky weight on 6mm needles, and there are 328 projects on Ravelry. A lot of them look super, super cute, and I'm just excited. I really love the model photos of it, which I will of course post on the screen. It also, if you don't speak English, which you do speak English most likely if you're watching this, it also comes in Danish and Norwegian. But this is the first pattern, this really adorable balaclava. It's a free pattern. I'm gonna test it out. It's actually #1 in my queue on Ravelry. So once I finish, well, my 6mm tips are being used for this project. So once I get it off my needles, I'll probably cast it on and have it be my work bag project. So excited about that one. Okay, the second pattern I will talk about is also a free pattern, and it is a new pattern that came out in October 2023 by Purl Soho. So if you haven't heard of Purl Soho, welcome. They're wonderful. They post a whole bunch of free patterns. Purl Soho is a yarn brand that also designs patterns that are free. to accompany their yarns. And so this Keyhole Scarf I thought was a great pattern. I love the colors they use in the like sample photos, and I love the concept of this scarf. I really love scarves. I love like all winter accessories. I think that viewer that said that like your winter accessories are the jewelry of the winter is so true. I think it's so fun to accessorize and just bring some light. I think accessories are a great way to play with color. If you've been around, you know that I'm not afraid of color. I love playing with color, but I am trying to work on creating a few more staples in neutrals, and I think my accessories can be the place where I get to play with color and just have fun. This scarf I particularly love because the name Keyhole indicates that there is a hole within the scarf so that you can slide, like when you wrap it around, you can put the other tail through so that it doesn't move. I know one of my like, I don't know if a pet peeve is the right word for it, but like an annoyance I have with scarves is when you wrap it around and then it unfalls, and then you're like left with like, depending on like the way that you wrap it, sometimes you're like left with just like a noodle hanging off your shoulder. Or I've been kind of just wearing them like around my neck and like around the back of my neck and not doing like the full wrap, so that I can like have more control over it. Or you wrap it and then you have to like kind of hold it in or like tuck it into your coat, and like at that point when you just want to wear a cowl. I love this one because there's no way for this, well there is a way, you pull it out through the hole, but like there's no way for the scarf to just randomly unalign unless you like actually pull it out. And I think that's a great concept. I think for me, I don't know, sometimes I just want the scarf to stay in place, and like sometimes you knit a scarf and it's not long enough to like do the full-on wrap, or like you wrap it and then you tie it and then you have these like awkward, you know, ends of the scarf like flaring out this way. Maybe I just don't know how to style a scarf. That could also be totally true. But this scarf I love. I think it would be a great way to use up some random awkward quantities of yarn as well. So it uses Purl Soho's Cashmere Merino Bloom, which is 25% merino and, 75% merino and 25% cashmere. It's knit on 3.75 millimeter needles. It's a DK weight yarn, and it uses 400 meters of this yarn. So I think it would be a great way to use up those, like if you had like 200 grams of DK and you didn't really know what to do with it, like it's not enough for like a vest, it's not enough for like a full garment, it's like too much for a hat, like do you knit like a hat and mittens set? I think this would be a great scarf. The scarf is also knit in the round, and so you don't actually see that garter side of the scarf ever, because I guess you could flip it inside out and have it be garter if you wanted to, but all of it is stockinette. You cast it on in the round. I personally love in the round for mindless knitting. I like back and forth projects every once in a while, but I do just find them having to like stop and switch and restart can sometimes just like distract your flow if you just want to have like your hands busy. So I think this scarf would be a great one for just pumping it out in the round. I know a modification I might make if I do this is it's initially just cast on, and you have an open hole for the end of the scarf that then goes through the keyhole. I would potentially do a Judy's Magic cast on so that you don't have that cast on edge and the temptation for the ends to curl up like it does in 100% stockinette. I feel like a Judy's Magic cast on would be a really nice clean edge to it. If I'm looking at the photos, the rolled edge also does look cute for like a nice little finishing, but I could also see a Magic cast on working for a nice, very seamless look. I also would like to knit this scarf a smidge longer than what the sample photos are, or the pattern is designed to be. I would probably knit it like an extra 10 centimeters just to get a bit more of that length and have it be less of that cowl and more of like that drapey scarf that can be tucked in and not just be so bulky right by your neck is a modification I would make. I don't know if I will cast this on this year, but I do have a few quantities of DK weight yarn that would meet the requirement for this scarf. So Emily from High Fiber Knits gifted me some alpaca in like a nice deep petroleum color from Sandnes Garn, their DK alpaca yarn. And I feel like that would be a really beautiful scarf that would go with all of my coats. And it would be a great way to use up every single last bit of that, sorry, brain fart. It would be a great way to use up every single last bit of that yarn, maybe say enough left to add a row into my excavation blanket. So I think that's probably the yarn I will use for that. I'm also tempted to knit a Myra hat, which is a hat I just test knitted with that yarn, but that's totally aside. The second pattern that I am talking about this month is the Keyhole Scarf. And there are currently, there's only, because it came out in October 2023, there's only 8 projects on Ravelry, and none of them have like finished object photos, but I think it's a cute scarf and I think it would be very useful. So the last pattern that I want to talk to you about that I've had my eyes on forever is the Lumme by Sari Nordlund, and this is a Colorwork sweater by Sari. It is knit at a worsted weight, and it is using the yarn Cascade 220 in either the plain or the heathers, and I think this sweater is absolutely gorgeous. I love all of the different versions on Ravelry. There are currently 517 projects for it, and I think that this motif, the Colorwork motif, is a very classic motif, and I also think that it has some nice, there's room to play with this sweater and with this yarn. So there's the original, so there's 2 colorways there's one colorway I really, really love, and I'm just pulling it up right now, but it is a white main color with 2 different shades of blue and a brown for the contrast color. Okay, so the original, there's 2, and I assume one is gonna do one did what I did, but the Lumme pullover by a maker, let me just see, Alicia, and it's just this absolutely gorgeous. It is using antique heather as the main color, and then it has this brown and 2 different shades of blue for the colorwork, and it's so pretty. It is so aesthetic. I think that combo is something that I would be drawn to for like literally ever. I really love blues. I love all colors, but I've always loved blue, and I assume I always will. And this sweater is so gorgeous. Everyone I've seen that's made this sweater in all the different colorways, they all look amazing. I'm particularly drawn to this one, but I would also love to add this detail from another sweater by the maker Hytte, where she did a contrast color bind off for the collar. And so she used one of the colors in her colorwork pattern and she added it to the collar, and she also didn't do a folded collar, which I don't mind a folded collar, but I also love the look of a mock neck. I really love that detail. I think it would also be super cute to add it to the cuffs of the sleeves and potentially also the cuff of the body, or the hem of the body, I guess is how you would call that. But very beautiful. Yeah, this sweater is just absolutely gorgeous. Sari Nordlund, I've knit a couple patterns by her now, and all the patterns that she makes are written so well that there's so much detail and thought that goes into her pattern writing. I haven't heard anything bad about this sweater. I think that it's initially, as I mentioned, designed for 2 colors, and I think 2 color work is quite beginner friendly. The variation I would like to make, which is that one with the blues and the brown, does have some parts where there would be 3 colors going at once. I don't know if I will do that or if I'll just make different sections, different colors. I do not know yet. The sweater comes in, let me see how many sizes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 sizes, from a 80 centimeter finished bust circumference to an 160 centimeter bust circumference. And so it goes from about 75 to 55 centimeter busts. It's designed to have 5 to 7.5 centimeters of positive ease. As I'm looking at the patterns, mine will have, there's not a size in here that works super well for my bust circumference to have that recommended ease, and so I think I would go on the larger end of things and have it be a bit more oversized. Is probably what I would do. I don't own the pattern yet, but I do plan to knit it. I actually just ordered yarn for this sweater. Unit in Toronto, which is a brick and mortar shop, was having a sale on their Cascades 220 yarns, and they had all the colors in stock. And so I went for it. It was on sale, it was a good price. I can get a full, beautiful sweater for a really affordable price. And again, I love mohair, but I do want a nice variety of mohair and mohair-free sweaters in my wardrobe. And I think that this sweater would just be a nice winter sweater to work on. So that is the third pattern. So now, moving on to two designers that I have absolutely been loving. The first one is a new to me designer. I've never heard of her before, but her work is absolutely gorgeous. And I apologize if I pronounce her name wrong, but it is, I want to say Kajsa Vuorela Fredriksson. Kajsa Vuorela Fredriksson, and she has so many beautiful patterns. She is a Swedish designer, and she's also she's Swedish designer. Most of her patterns come in Swedish and English. She has a variety of different types of patterns, from accessories to garments to baby knits. Everything she does is so beautiful. There's a lot of attention to detail. All of her pieces have a little bit of an edge to them, like a creative edge to them. She doesn't do anything that I see as I'm scrolling through it that's just a totally plain basic stockinette thing. Everything has either color or it's playing with texture. She has a lot of beautiful sock patterns. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And again, I've kind of been drawn to some colorwork stuff lately, as you saw from the last pattern, the loom pullover. And you'll also see from the next designer, who also does a lot of color work. But Kajsa has some beautiful, beautiful patterns. One that I really love is the Julius mittens, and it's like this plaid colorwork mitten with a beautiful colorwork motif for the cuff that's different from the plaid. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a fingering weight, no, it's a sport weight yarn. But they just look so cozy, and I know the added, like the floats would just make them would make them more windproof than if you just did a plain knit up version, and they're knit on a fairly tight gauge. So I just feel like they would be an awesome pair of winter mittens to show off your knit skill, have some fun color work. You could play with fun colors, have that, really rock that winter jewelry. It will also providing a lot of warmth due to the tight gauge and the double-stranded, or the double-stranded color work. I also really love some cowls that she's done. She's done some shawls. One that I would love to knit are, if you have the 52 Weeks of Socks book, her Elva her Elva Slippers are in that book. And so I currently own that book, and I've been really wanting a pair of slippers for the house. And so these slippers are knit on a DK weight yarn, or they're knit with a DK weight yarn, and they're all over colorwork on the sole, colorwork on the top of the foot. They have a really cute, it looks like I-cord detail as the cuff for the slipper. I think that these slippers would be really fun to, again, use up some random stash yarn. I know I have some Rowan DK that has literally been in my stash since like high school in this beautiful blue color, and I'm sure I could also get it in find another DK weight yarn in my stash to go with it. It's knit on 3.25 millimeters, so again, having that nice dense fabric while also having the added warmth from the floats would just make these a really cozy pair of slippers. And because I already own the book, I think this will be my first Kajsa pattern, despite me really loving the mittens. She also has a beautiful cardigan called the Eva Cardigan. So this one is one of her more simplistic pieces, but it is an all over ribbed cardigan. And if I'm pulling it up closer, it looks like it is a nice wide, is it broken rib? No, but it's like it has like nice thick purl or stockinette sections of the rib with smaller pearls, or I guess more knit sections than purl sections. So it's not a symmetrical rib or knit to purl sweater. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, I'm not really loving knitting cardigans right now, so I don't know if it's something that I will be casting on anytime soon, or if I will ever cast it on, but I do really appreciate that sweater. I highly suggest checking out her work. Of course, I will have it linked below, and I will include screenshots of her Ravelry patterns page. Okay, so the second designer, the hint I gave you is that she also is a beautiful colorwork pattern, or a colorwork pattern designer. And this is the petite knitter. And so the petite knitter is a knitwear designer who is located in Nunavut, Canada, which is one of the territories of Canada. Canada has 3 territories, and it is very far up north. I love following her on Instagram and seeing her post pictures of snowfalls at times where you wouldn't expect snow to fall because she is located so far north. She has so many beautiful motifs in all of her sweaters. She doesn't just do sweaters as well, she also does some mittens and some socks, and I actually got to test knit for the petite knitter this summer for her little gingham pouch, which was a beautiful pattern that was written very well. And I had a lot of fun doing the 2-color color work, the double-stranded color work. And so I definitely would love to knit more of her patterns and support a Canadian designer. She does a lot of different, like all of the fabrics or yarns she uses are rustic. They're all super beautiful. I love the like filter she has. It's very coherent, like the picture she creates. She has a lot of pets that inspire her designs, as well as living up in the Arctic. It's just her work is absolutely beautiful, and I think most people know of her. Maybe not most, but people that know of her really respect her work. It's maybe not for everyone. Some of the motifs she has are like of caribou or of cats and things like that. They're absolutely beautiful, but someone maybe wouldn't want to invest that much time to make a color sort of with cats on it. But they would. I know that I definitely appreciate all of her. I definitely appreciate all of her patterns, even if I wouldn't see myself investing the time to knit an all over colorwork sweater with like cats on it. I think there's definitely people where that is their sweater. I like all her work, but the pieces I would like to knit are some of the more subtle colorwork patterns, especially when it comes for knitting a sweater. I apologize if there was some background noise here, a tractor just drove by. But I really would love to knit a few of her patterns that, like the cute little motifs in some of the socks and mittens. She has a pair of mittens and socks with sheep on them. They're like the Ovis socks and the Ovis mitts, and I think those would be super cute to knit. I fell in love with those socks when I first saw them. I just think the little sheep are so adorable. And who, as a knitter, who doesn't love sheep? So, but the one sweater one of the sweaters I have been drawn to is quite similar to the Lumme sweater, and it is the Hytte sweater. I also am not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's a beautiful yoked, or a colorwork yoke sweater. It has a mock net. It has these nice details. It has a similar motif to the Lumme sweater, but it's a bit less busy than the Lumme sweater. It's knit in Plutlopi, which is an unspun Icelandic yarn. I have some Plutlopi in my stash. I have it in this beautiful icy blue color. I don't have it here, but I can insert a picture of the color. And I think that would look really pretty with a white for the sweater, or like a nice navy. I think would be very beautiful, and I think again it would be like just a nice classic winter colorwork sweater. Again, I love blues. I've always been drawn to blue, and I think like a nice winter, like wintry blue, either blue in the white or blue in the navy with like a classic knitwear motif would be a sweater that you could wear season after season in the winter. I don't think those Colorwork classic motifs ever really go out of style in the winter. So I think that's one that I would love to knit, and again, it would give me the opportunity to use up some of that yarn. I had bought it for the season sweater by Ozetta, but I'm not sure if that's where I want to go with it. I think the Hytte sweater is gorgeous, and I would really love to do another the petite knitter pattern, and I think this is the one sweater I'd love to cast on. The little Ovis socks or Ovis mitts are super cute, as are the bloom socks by the petite knitter, which I've talked about in prior episodes or prior videos on the knitting page channel. So the third designer that I'm talking about is the petite knitter, and her patterns are beautiful. If you've heard of the great Canadian make-along that We'll See Knitting is hosting, this would be a great designer to support, so that you can support a Canadian designer if you are from Canada or if you want to support that make-along. Okay, so I've done my 3 patterns, which is the Tromsø Hoodie, the Keyhole Scarf, and the Lumme pullover by Sari Nordlund. I did my 2 designers, which are Kajsa and the petite knitter, and the last category is one yarn I'm loving this month, or that I'm excited to try. And this yarn is I literally just looked up how to pronounce it, and now I forget, so I apologize if it is pronounced wrong. I still have the video open, I'm just gonna listen to it. Whoop. Shibui. The Shibui Pebble yarn, which is a Japanese yarn from Shibui, and it's so beautiful. At least I assume it's so beautiful. I haven't actually seen it in person. No, that is a lie. I've seen it in person and I've touched it, and I was like, I can't even look at it, or like look at it too long, because it's quite expensive, and I don't know if I can afford, like, it's $30 for 25 grams, and it's made of 48% recycled silk, 36% fine merino, and 16% cashmere. Is the Shibui Pebble yarn. And a little fun fact, Shibui means, let me go back to the thing, it has a really cute meaning. So Shibui is the Japanese word for simple, subtle, and unobtrusive beauty. And so Shibui yarns are gorgeous. They're fairly expensive because they're like luxurious, they're luxurious yarns. Like this one has cashmere, it has silk, it has fine merino wool. It looks absolutely beautiful. Unit was also having their Shibui yarns on sale for 30% off, and so I just test knit the Myra hat. I absolutely loved it. I have some white DK yarn in my stash from the Longway Homestead yarn subscription program, and I thought that holding that with this beautiful yarn could make for a really beautiful, I got it in white, just like a nice classic white ribbed beanie that I think I could have in my wardrobe forever. And so I ordered some of that yarn. I'm so excited to try it. This will be the highest percentage of cashmere I've worked with. I worked with 10% cashmere in a soft cashmere blend, but I haven't worked with anything higher than that, and so this one will be super fun. I am excited. I know I've touched it in the store and I really loved it. I think it'll be a nice double strand in that hat to hold within 100% wool. 100% Canadian wool, super cool. And I might show you in a future episode holding it up with I have a few different options for the different wools for different breeds, and kind of see which one we think would be the best. So that was my November 321. I love these videos. It's so fun to explore and like imagine, like every pattern I pick, every designer, I like imagine what I'm gonna knit with it, which is potentially why I have cast-on-itis all the time, and I'm always casting on new things or wanting to knit new things or buy new yarn for new projects. But it's really fun to learn about new designers I wouldn't necessarily hear about, or that takes a bit more effort to hear about. I try to pull in new ones. I try to pull in different patterns from different people. So yeah, I really love this format, and I know you guys have given me some positive feedback, so thank you for that. And if this is your first time watching, it would really, really mean the world to me if you subscribed. and liked and commented, did the YouTube things. It helps me. I do make a small bit of money from YouTube, and it's definitely not equal to the time I invest in doing this, but I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love it. The money is just a nice little side sprinkling. It's like the sprinkles on the cake, you know? They're awesome to have, but they don't make or break the cake. Just like this podcast doesn't make or break my knitting practice, but it is a wonderful thing to have. So till next time, I hope you stay well. I hope you enjoy all of the woolly wools. I know I am, and I'm excited to use up some stash, add some new stash, as well as just explore new patterns, and have that nice balance between neutrals and color, as you've seen throughout my channel, and I will continue to work on having that nice balance. So thank you for watching. Until next time, see ya!